What if the season that promises reinvention is actually the one that forces you to confront everything you've been running from, and the only way to find your future is to stop curating it for an audience that doesn't exist? In Summer State of Mind, Kristy Woodson Harvey delivers a contemporary women's fiction novel that transforms the beach read trope into a luminous exploration of female friendship, creative identity, and the terrifying vulnerability of choosing authenticity over aesthetic perfection. This isn't merely another coastal escape with sunsets and cocktails. It's a tender, emotionally precise narrative where every tide carries memory, every shared silence holds decades of unspoken history, and love means allowing yourself to be messy when the world demands polish. From the first salt-kissed narration, listeners are immersed in a North Carolina landscape where beauty and brokenness coexist, making every moment of connection feel like both homecoming and reckoning. Perfect for fans of character-driven summer fiction and stories where healing happens through presence rather than performance, this audiobook serves up atmospheric warmth, relentless emotional honesty, and protagonists whose journey from curated personas to sovereign selves resonates with anyone who's ever mistaken visibility for worth. When lifestyle influencer Harper Hayes returns to her family's Outer Banks cottage after a public burnout, she expects distraction, not to reunite with childhood friends Maeve and Claire, whose own lives have fractured beneath the weight of expectations they never chose. But as the three women navigate port swings and buried grievances, they realize this reunion isn't about nostalgia, it's about reclamation. Harvey masterfully avoids reducing her heroines to archetypes or the coast to backdrop. Instead, she crafts a narrative where friendship becomes sanctuary, where consent is negotiated through shared vulnerability rather than assumed intimacy, and where liberation requires honoring each other's complexity without demanding resolution. The audiobook narration amplifies this emotional precision, capturing Harper's polished facade softening into genuine receptivity, while Maeve and Claire's voices shift subtly between guardedness and grace, making every conversation feel like both excavation and invitation. You don't just hear their bond deepen, you feel the seismic shift of three women learning that true belonging isn't found in perfect moments, but in the willingness to be imperfect together. What elevates Summer State of Mind beyond typical summer fiction is its nuanced portrayal of female friendship as restorative practice rather than escapist fantasy. Harper, Maeve, and Claire aren't merely reconnecting, they're confronting how social media and societal scripts taught them to equate value with productivity and appearance, challenging the notion that joy requires curation. Their relationships evolve through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing truths during midnight swims that bypass performance, setting boundaries that protect both individuality and collective care, and defending each other's right to grieve openly against communities that mistake stoicism for strength. Supporting characters add vital texture, locals whose wisdom carries both warmth and warning, partners whose love tests inherited patterns, even the ocean itself, rendered as living witness whose rhythms remember every versions of themselves they've tried to outrun. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In worlds built on image, authenticity is rebellion, and presence is the only true anchor. Even the sensory details serve thematic depth, with tidal cycles mirroring emotional release and communal meals becoming metaphors for nourishment beyond the visual. For audiobook listeners, this production is pure auditory sanctuary. The narrator embodies Harper, Maeve, and Claire with remarkable distinction. Harper's voice carries brittle brightness laced with dawning softness, Maeve's tone holds quiet intensity beneath layers of protective discipline, and Claire's cadence trembles with suppressed longing beneath cheerful compliance, making their chemistry palpable even in stillness. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming intimacy. Distant waves marking emotional tides, rain against screened porches during vulnerable confessions, the hushed clink of ice and glasses sinking with breath during moments of clarity, all anchor emotional stakes in sensory reality. Pacing mirrors the rhythm of coastal life, deliberate during reflection and ritual, then gently accelerating as external pressures collide with internal awakenings. Whether you're commuting for urban chaos or unwinding in twilight solitude, the audiobook creates a portable shore where slowness feels sacred and connection feels lifeline. It's storytelling as embodied validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a journey where healing isn't about escaping reality, but about returning to it together. Ultimately, Summer State of Mind redefines summer women's fiction by centering female embodiment within relational frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for atmospheric wonder and heartfelt resolution, while delivering substantive commentary on digital age identity, intergenerational trauma, and the radical act of building belonging through mutual stewardship rather than rescue. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey. If you've ever wondered whether joy can coexist with imperfection, or if true strength requires softness in curated landscapes, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful act is simply showing up as yourself, unfiltered, unfinished, and fully seen. Press play, sink your toes in their sand, and prepare to believe that even in lives shaped by performance, hearts still find ways to remember home. Your next favorite summer story isn't waiting in flawless getaways. It's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to be real together.